Yeah, I'm probably gonna need a Korg movie, like, as soon as humanly possible. Hey movie fans, so I just saw Thor Ragnarok, the third of the Thor films, but by no means the third appearance of Thor. You know what I mean, he's all over these Marvel movies. I liked the first Thor, did not really like Thor The Dark World. It's easily the weakest Marvel movie, but I just saw Thor Ragnarok, and without a doubt, it's by far the best of the Thor movies. But how does it rank in the pantheon of the other Marvel Cinematic Universe movies? Well, let's break it down. So first, let's start off with the positives. Thor himself by Chris Hemsworth. This is probably his best time around as Thor. He's really settled into this role and just made it his own. He's very enjoyable in this. My only gripe about his character in this is he's funnier than usual. That sounds like a weird nitpick, but up until this point, Thor has always been a funny character, but not necessarily the comedic relief character. Everyone in this is comedic relief when they want to be, more so than usual, but that's because this is a comedy director, Taika Waititi, and Thor seems funnier than usual. Sometimes it works, other times it kind of cuts the tension, I think, but he's always been funny, but not over the top funny. He has a lot more jokes in this, everyone does, so it's a little bit of a mixed bag, but by and large, he's the same. He's great. Taking the Thor that we saw in the first Thor compared to the Thor that we see now, there's a great story arc with his character and development as a leader, which I really liked seeing, as opposed to other characters, Iron Man, that has more or less been a regression in their character, but Thor actually has progressed as a character from when we first saw him to where he is now. I feel like he has completed a story. That being said, now that he has completed a story, please do not die in Avengers Infinity War. Captain America or Iron Man, you could. That's okay. Thankfully, Thor is accompanied this time around by a lot of fresh new faces, as well as some faces that you've seen in previous films, like Loki, who is interesting in this movie. They're kind of spinning him as more of an anti-hero this time around, which I don't know how I feel about that, but we'll think about that a little bit later. But he is joined by some new characters this time around, like Valkyrie, Scourge, Korg, and the Grand Master. All these new characters, and I'm happy to say, like, all of these new characters just feel like welcome addition to the family. There's not a new character that kind of stands out there. You're just like, can we get not as much of you? All of them played their part, and all of them really brought something different to the table. Valkyrie has this great story about where she came from and why she is who she is. Korg's the best, voiced by the director of the film, Taika Waititi, who is like, I really want to meet this guy. He seems so chill and fun, and his version of Korg, Korg was my favorite in this movie. He was so funny in a film that's like super macho heroes spitting off one-liners. Korg is just like, hey, let's have some tea, yeah? He just seems super nice, but he'll also pound your face in if you disrespect him. But then you have Grand Master, played by Jeff Goldblum, at his most Jeff Goldblum-y that he could possibly be. He's a little quirky and out there. Like, I don't know if Jeff Goldblum actually knew that a camera was on him this whole time. He just kind of did his own thing. But he was enjoyable and a lot of fun. And then we have one of my favorite actors working today, Karl Urban, playing Scourge. Now, without going too much into detail about his character, giving away spoilers, he's probably the most interesting and complex character in this film, and I really liked the story that they were telling with him from start to finish. And I love Karl Urban. He needs to be in more stuff, and please, can we give him Dredd too? But all these new characters felt like welcome additions. Sometimes new characters kind of feel out of left field, or they don't really fit the flow of the story. These guys, they fit incredibly well in the story being told for Thor Ragnarok this time around, and flowed with the pre-existing characters, as well as some other characters that we have seen before. Like, Hulk is in this movie. They've advertised him incredibly a lot in this, which I think is kind of an odd move. But don't worry, this is absolutely still a Thor movie. It's not a Thor-Hulk team-up movie. It's very much a Thor movie. Hulk is a little bit different this time around. It's not good, it's not bad, it's different. The Hulk, this time, they kind of tweak his character a little bit without going into detail. He's just different, and it's not good, it's not bad, it's fine. It's You get to see Hulk punch stuff. What else do you want? This film's also directed by a comedy director, so this film, as I mentioned earlier, has a lot more humor in it than previous Marvel movies, and that's saying something because Marvel liked them some quips, but this movie, wow, it's like dry and sarcastic. It's what the director's like known for. If you have not seen What We Do in the Shadows, I cannot recommend it enough, but he's just got this witty, dry sense of humor, and he's really good at dialogue. Some of the scenes are just really, really funny in how they're written and how they're just overall acted out. Like the humor in this is just really, really funny. It's definitely the funniest of the Thor movies that I've seen so far. It's also the most visually different, but I actually really like that. There's definitely this otherworldliness to it because there's all the different color palettes. It's bright, it's colorful, at the same time being kind of muted. It's hard to describe. It is super bright, but it's not in your face bright. It's this right balance of otherworldliness mixed with the familiar. It's a nice, refreshing, different take. That's what this Thor kind of is. It's familiar, but different. But it's not perfect. No film is. So what are some of the negatives of this movie? I think for me, personally, it took a while to kind of get going. You kind of bounce around a lot at the beginning, and there's a lot of exposition at different parts of the movie, but then when it gets offset by some great action. So it's a little bit of give and take. There's a lot of exposition, but then there's some really good action along with some great visuals. I also think that certain characters in this kind of don't act like themselves, or they act different, which is fine in the context of the movie, but given some other movies that we have about them, they just seem to be acting different for no real reason why. Like maybe if we had some explanation as to why these characters, like motivations, overall personalities have been tweaked, not drastically, but enough that it kind of feels odd. Like I said earlier, Thor throws out a lot of jokes. It felt odd that he was throwing out so many jokes. Like Thor has been a funny character, but not the funny character. It's just some other character motivations or personalities are tweaked, and it seemed odd and a little bit jarring at times of, this is not how I'm used to this character being. Maybe if I had an explanation of why they're acting this way, I'd be a little more comfortable with it. And lastly, for my negatives, and I can't really talk about this without going to spoilers, but I'll try my best, so I won't give away anything here, but certain things happen in this to certain characters that should feel a lot bigger than they do. Certain things on paper happen that should be a big thing in this world, or certainly a big thing to certain characters, but it's kind of downplayed, and that really took away some of the tension of going, well, shouldn't I feel a lot more for this situation? I don't really feel a whole lot, and I really should, considering what's actually happening. And the third act is kind of odd. Of the ending, it kind of just leaves the door open. It's interesting, without going into details, and it's got an interesting ending, but I still had a lot of fun with Thor Ragnarok. You will enjoy it immensely. You will laugh a lot. It's a really fun and enjoyable movie. It's just standard Marvel movie. It's just fun, enjoyable time at the theater. And overall, I'd probably give Thor Ragnarok maybe an 8 out of 10. It's a lot of fun. Not perfect by any means. And it's just fun, average Marvel movie. What would you guys think of Thor Ragnarok? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, if you like what you see and want to see more, subscribe to the channel. Or find me on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram at Uncharted Media. Stay sharp, movie guys and gals.